Thanks for staying with us. Now, registration of members of parliament onto the Ghana card is currently underway. The minority has, however, boycotted the registration exercise, citing legal, procurement and cost concerns. Member of Parliament for Okaikoi Central, Patrick Buama, is unhappy with the posture of the minority towards the process. Meanwhile, management of NIA are expected to appear before the House to provide details of the cost and address concerns associated with the exercise. Parker Wilson has more.
But of course, the minority has been raising some concerns, and MP for Secondary is here with me to also address some of the issues. But first and foremost, Honorable, let me ask you, what are your expectations for, as the NIA boss is coming to Parliament, to even brief you on the details as far as this is concerned?
Well, it's exciting. I always have expected that the Ghana card, when it comes in, is going to help us in resolving many of the issues with our identification that we have. It's going to help government in planning. We'll know who the real Ghanaians are. We can control and monitor our electoral processes and see who really cast votes in electing our leadership of the country. Of course, last couple of weeks, when they indicated that we're going to start the rollout of the program, some technical hitches prevented them from commencing, and as usual, the naysayers went to town, said all sorts of things that practically this thing was impossible. I'm glad that finally they've been able to resolve the issues and have started the rollout. We all saw it in the news last week that they have issued cards to personnel of the presidency. And they are here today to issue to members of parliament. And I believe that they will continue, as they've indicated, to some key stakeholders and issue them with their cards. Of course, the minority have raised some issues. I've seen on the business statement from this week that the NIA and their officials are going to brief parliament as appropriate. And we'll be glad to hear from them what it is that the issues are. And then we'll see whatever concerns that they have. I'm sure that the NIA would appropriately have the responses to enable us all move forward. One thing that surprised me, though, with respect to the statement that they issued, relates to the mode of identification or proof as Ghanaians. And I was baffled because we all sat in the chamber and amended the law. Did they not read it? Did they not see that beyond the birth certificate and the passport, people could get two other individuals or some family member to depose to an affidavit indicating or confirming their nationality as Ghanaians? I suspect, and it's consistent with their nature, you know, whatever successful policy that government rolls out, because they could not successfully do it during their era, they would necessarily raise issues and try to throw dust in the eyes of the Ghanaian public. But we
Parker Wilson there in Parliament speaking with Andrew Japamesa. Now, residents of Zongo communities in Cape Coast say they are still holding on to the promises made by government through the Minister for Zongo and Inner City Development. The residents say even though nothing concrete has happened after the establishment of the ministry, they have confidence that all their challenges tabled before the minister will receive attention. On today's agenda, Richard Kodonyako goes back to the Kotokraba Zongo and interacts with residents.
It's been more than a year since the Zongo and the Inner City Development Ministry was created. The Kotokraba Zongo community in Cape Coast is one of the many Zongo communities in the central region that are eager to benefit from funds to develop their community. The Kotokraba Zongo sits directly opposite the popular Kotokraba market. Poor drainage, poor sanitation, many uneducated youth craving for jobs are among the numerous challenges the people here expect the Zongo Development Minister to help some out.
Because youth when you because everybody in some opinion be of Kokoda. Nanyazungo for young for no on your mind. What poor minister Nakasa Central Region Harm, especially Cape Kuzungo Harmon, Yakroko Kuchia. Yakoko Oshayambo. Nanasi will begin the Oba Pro, Ababu Punyadu, Moabashan, wabɛhyɛn no kwan de bibi ababado so ya ati material news read the papers and as in all kan nti me wo de bibi dam babado nti me ware hyɛ me de babado inshallah so bibi dam ambada mom emerabo ho.
So this is Alhaji Zakaria, and he's been telling me that while they've seen the Zongo minister, he's visited the Kotokwaba Zongo community, and when he was first appointed, there was a delegation from this community. They went to exchange some pleasantries with him, but they have some confidence in him that he's going to deliver. There are challenges. He's been enumerating education, jobs, and other things, and they are confident. And he tells me that they will be extremely surprised if all these promises that have been given them are not fulfilled.
My name is Alhaji Mohammed Kamel. So what I want the ministry to do is to come to our aid, to help us for our boys to get work. You know, we don't have good education. So how can we go and work at the government institutions? It's only this tailoring, fitting, driving, that's what we do. So if he can help us through that, you know, Dongo will improve. And if you see our areas too, because of drains, we don't have drains. That's why we always get the place dirty. Toilet facilities is very poor. We don't have it in this Kotokwaba Zongo. That is the big Zongo in this Cape Coast. The whole Cape Coast, that is the big.
I've been interacting with the members of this community on the promises and the assurances that have been given by the Zongo ministry. They tell me that the Zongo minister has visited this place once when he was appointed by the president. He came, engaged with them and thanked them for their support. Again, the Zongo minister has also sent a delegation to them to ask them what really are their needs, and so they've been outlining a series of needs ranging from education, sanitation, jobs, and what generally the ministry intends doing for the youthful population in the Zongo community. So will the people here in the Zongo community be disappointed? Should all these promises made by government through the Zongo and Inner City Development Ministry prove to be mere words that are normally uttered by politicians?
I'm telling you that Abubakar Boniface is somebody who Zongo, the whole Zongo, rather than NDC, MPP, CPP, everybody like Abubakar. Because he's a man of principle. If he say yes, it's yes. So if he didn't do it, we won't blame him. But we know, inshallah, by the grace of mighty Allah, Abubakar will do it for us.
From the Kotokwaba Zongo community, my name is Richard Kwejonya for joining.
Now moving on, a 15-year-old boy is battling for his life from a spine injury after he fell from a mango tree at Wiamuase in Ashanti region. Doctors at the local SDA hospital say Ibrahim Abubakari urgently needs over 20,000 Ghana cedis to undergo surgery to survive. He had earlier been discharged from Komfanosha Hospital because relatives could not afford the cost of treatment. Nana Sensomenta visited him at the hospital and filed this report.
It's 12 noon. Ibrahim's peers are in school, but he is confined to the hospital bed, hardly able to move his body. He suffered fracture of the spinal cord, which has left him paralyzed with multiple bed sores. It's an unpleasant end to what began as an exciting mango hunting expedition. Doctors say he can survive for only few months unless he undergoes emergency operation. Michael Ado is medical superintendent at Yamuasi SDA Hospital.
Okay, so patient was brought in with a history of a fall from a mango tree. Due to the seriousness of the injury and our capacity to handle the patient, we referred him to CATH for further management. He was seen at CATH, various investigations were done, including a CT scan, and they realized that he had a spinal injury. So they scheduled for surgery, but the patient could not afford the amount being charged for the surgery. So they decided to come home, and they were asked, he had developed some sores at his back, so he was asked to come for dressing. Unfortunately, the relatives don't know how much to care for the patient because the boy is paralyzed. He has to be turned frequently, but they couldn't do that. So that worsened the sores that he had developed at his back. She says they need about 20,000 Ghana cedis for him to undergo the surgery. So we are appealing to good-meaning people if they can assist him. If the surgery is not done, then this guy is paralyzed for the rest of his life. And with the complications of the bed sores that have come in, if you look at the sores, you can see that his bones are even exposed. If not much is done for him, infection can set in, and which can let him go off any time.
Ibrahim's parents cannot raise 20,000 Ghana cedis for medical intervention. Frustrated mother Amina Mariga joins son to make a public appeal for help.
Efrem Ibrahim, my dear 50, so Uncle Fra Mangudia, and I'm a titoy. I'm a family na juju. A curious to me.
My name is Ibrahim. I am 15 years old. I climbed a mango tree and fell off, which has made me paralyzed. I went to the hospital and the doctor told me I need to be operated on, and this will cost me over 20,000 Ghana cedis. I am calling on people to come to my aid.
I was in the northern region with my sick husband when I heard my child had fallen off a mango tree. I quickly came down and sent my son to the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. My husband died subsequently. They said he required operation, but I didn't have the money. So I brought him to the SDA hospital for treatment. I'm calling on the public to come to our aid.
So Ibrahim Abubakar needs more than 20,000 Ghana cedis for him to undergo a surgery to be able to walk again. According to doctors, he has just some few months to live if the surgery is not performed immediately. He's pleading to corporate bodies and other benevolent individuals to come to his aid so that he can be able to survive. Reporting for Joy News, Nana Asenso Mensah.
Now, writing with your pen held in your mouth appears impossible to do, but for 20-year-old Esther, it comes with ease, having lost her 2 arms to paralysis. She took part in the just-ended BECE without any limitation from her physical disability. She believes despite her inability to use her hands, she's a complete human being just like any of her peers. Joy News' Matilda Hwemega has more in the following report.
It was an injection meant for the treatment of measles for Esther Gaba when she was only 5 years old. Later, Esther and her family knew that failing to do regular checkups will lead to her paralysis. She's paralyzed in both arms and legs. She had difficulty catching up with her mates in class, so dropped out of school. Her father doesn't earn much from his farming business, so couldn't support her all through. With the benevolence of some neighbors and friends, Esther returned to school, determined to make a difference. Esther, now 20, was one of the 10 candidates from Enyinebirim DA Junior High School in the Memphis Central District of the Western Region who wrote the just-ended Basic Education Certificate Examination, BECE. She wrote the papers holding the pen in her mouth and aided by a special table made by her father. When a pen was handed over to her to demonstrate how she wrote the exam, Esther held the pen in between her front teeth and scribbled words from her favorite song.
So, Many men you about one and them. And said that and your may sa. Sir Obi so whom ya Utime Bammy. Ebusame. Dente a ban san much anymore. Ebin so musa na or sere.
After that injection at age 5, I lost hope. I stayed indoors for years. I didn't have to learn to write with my mouth. It came naturally. People stare whenever I step out. Some even make mockery of my condition, but that won't stop me. God has blessed me with a special gift, and I will put that to use.
And I come here. Now, on just say, Masai. Miss Mitty say, O mom, num ho ye be. Na, infant say, at them dear naba, me did them. But, and on just say, me getting back. Timmy, they be a me coming couldn't.
So, can you?
Amazing, just amazing. It's now time for business with Emmanuel Abuajibiafi. Stay with us.